terrible.
Hi there, you lovely fuckers! My name is Mangs, and today it's time for the very first Fire Emblem Echoes character spotlight. Not very surprising to a lot of you, I can imagine, this honor simply had to go to the lovely, rambunctious noble lady, Clair.
Nothing will stop me.
Clair is a young girl from Sophia nobility, and is the younger sister of Clive. Clair grew up living in Sophia Castle and would often follow Clive and Fernand around as she idolized them both, wanting to follow in their footsteps and become a knight herself. This was met with much resistance, however, as many felt Clair was not suited for the task, instead recommending she become a more traditional noblewoman. Clair completely rejected this notion, however, and would repeatedly bug Clive and the other knights until they reluctantly decided to let her join them. Despite not being as strong as Clive or Fernand, Clair made up for her weakness by force of will and a strong resolve, and would grow to become a fantastic Pegasus Knight of Sophia. While the rest of the knights felt she came across as a little pompous and weird, they all grew to respect her within the order. Even after becoming a knight, Clair would still follow Clive and Fernand around quite a bit, and would often be made fun of for still chasing her big brother around at her age. However, she did make friends, and forged a particularly strong bond with Matilda. One night when she was away on a mission, after the other knights had made camp, Clair decided to sneak away to seek some nearby ruins, where supposedly a magical ring was located. Legend had it that this ring would make its wearer completely immune to magic. Matilda noticed Clair sneaking away from the camp, however, and confronted her. Clair told Matilda about the ring, and after Matilda realized she couldn't prevent Clair from going, decided to go with her. Inside the ruins, they did indeed find the ring that Clair had read about, and it even did exactly what the legend had predicted. However, upon stealing it, they were beset upon by hordes of terrors, and barely managed to fight their way out of the ruin. Much to Clair's dismay, the ring that she had brought with her disintegrated when hit by the sunlights. Matilda then asked Clair what she wanted with such a ring to begin with, as Pegasus riders don't exactly have a fear of magic, and Clair revealed that it was supposed to be a gift for her brother Clive. They then returned to camp empty-handed, but their friendship grew stronger as a result. After the tragic events that transpired after the death of King Lima, who was murdered by the evil Chancellor Desai, the Knights of Sophia, now called the Deliverance, were forced to flee the castle. Clair was stationed at a nearby outpost, but it came under attack, and most of the Deliverance soldiers were either killed or thrown in the dungeons. Clair was captured and left to die in a cell. Luckily for her, Lucas, alongside Alm and his companions, showed up to take back the outpost and rescued Clair from her cell. While she was initially a bit disrespectful towards Alm due to his commoner status, she quickly realized that she had to treat him with more respect and promptly apologized. Afterwards, she joined Alm on his journey towards the Deliverance HQ. Since Echoes is still a relatively new game at the time of making this spotlight, I do not wish to go deep into details of events that transpire around Clair in the game itself, or what happens to her afterwards, as that goes into spoiler territory for some people.
I can read our foes like a book.
In Gaiden, Clair's artwork is a bit of a mess, as they probably hired multiple artists. She is both depicted with red and aquamarine hair, though in the actual game itself, her hair color is blue. In Echoes, Clair has been completely redesigned. She retains her petite physique, but she now has long blonde hair and brown eyes. She wears a light blue tunic with bronze armaments and embroideries. She now wears black leggings that cover her legs, though in her cipher art she is depicted with thigh-high leggings instead. I guess they just wanted to make her a little bit more sexy. She also wears a helmet with a strange design, as it doesn't cover her entire head, allowing her hair to flow out at the back of it. She still wears her shoulder pads, but she no longer wears the breastplate she used to have in Gaiden. We also learn in Echoes that she is 18 years old.
I hope you were all watching.
Clair is a headstrong, rambunctious girl with a strong will and sometimes short temper. Her noble upbringing has made her somewhat arrogant and short-sighted, often thinking less of commoners and others below her social status. Many comparisons can be made to Binding Blade's Clarine, as they are similar both in appearance and personality. However, Clair does seem to be a step above her Binding Blade counterpart in terms of maturity, as she visibly attempts to better herself and treat others more kindly, as shown when she apologizes to Alm for calling him a peasant. This shows that Clair's arrogance isn't based on loathing or hatred like that of Fernand's, but mostly due to a sheltered, isolated lifestyle and a lack of exposure to the outside world. On the surface, she may come across as a bit unkind, but she does harbor a lot of empathy and kindness within her, even if she doesn't always show it off right away. Clair also has a rather and healthy obsession with her older brother Clive, similar to other blonde sisters in the series. She idolizes him in every way, viewing him as the perfect man without any faults. This has, according to Fernand, made it difficult for Claire to find a romantic partner, as she has the horrible habit of comparing every man she meets to her brother, a trait identical to that of Binding Blade's Clarine. Even when asked by Fernand to describe her ideal husband, she perfectly describes a man similar to Clive in her response. Claire does have a good eye for Alm, however, and immediately takes a liking to him after their meeting. She also gets hit on by Grey a lot, but ruthlessly rejects him, at least to begin with. Through her interactions with Grey, we do get a bit of an insight into Claire's mindset, as she tells him that she considers it very rude for a man to confess his feelings to her before taking his time to properly get to know her. This reveals that Claire is quite a romantic gal. She is not fond of the prospects of easy hookups and wants to be properly courted before she would even consider anything else. For all her nobility and grace, Claire is also shown to be slightly clumsy and easily gets flustered if caught off guard, something she is not very comfortable with. She has the tendency to both act and behave very strangely. Still, despite her pompous nature, she has a good heart and always radiates a lot of energy, which is mostly positive. Though if she gets angered, she's quick to give everyone around her a proper scolding.
You bore me. Be gone. I know, I'm simply terrible.
In Gaiden, Claire is the first and only Pegasus Knight to join you in Alm's party, as Faye is not present in this game. This means that you have to use Claire if you want a good Falcon Knight, and this is recommended as they are on absolute steroids in this game. Claire is a classic Pegasus Knight with a capital P. She has great skill, speed and luck, but very poor hit points and defense. You might find it difficult to properly get kills with her at first, due to her frail base stats and relatively low damage output, but once you get her going, she will become a very solid addition to your team. Giving her Clive's Steel Lance is absolutely recommended, as she could really use the extra striking power, and she's fast enough to still double most enemies despite the speed penalty. As mentioned previously, Falcon Knights are extremely powerful in Gaiden due to their ability to always deal triple damage against monsters, of which there are a lot of in this game. This combined with her high mobility enables her to reach some of the more elusive targets in the late game, and overall makes her a great monster hunter. In Echoes, Claire fills much of the same role, but she has gained a substantial upgrade to her growth rates, now sporting a fantastic 70% speed growth, making her one of the fastest characters in the game. In fact, all of her other growth rates are phenomenal as well, with most of them, say resistance, being above 40%, which is tremendously good by Echo standards. Now, while you do have access to other Pegasus Knights in Alm's route due to Faye being present, or if you just use the Villager Fork on any of your other units, Claire will still most likely be one of your best flyers due to her great mobility and stats. She's also a great mage hunter with her base resistance of 8. Like with Gaiden, it is definitely recommended you give Claire an Iron or a Steel Lance very early on, as she badly needs the extra striking power. Combat arts can be situationally useful, but for the most part, since Claire will nearly always double attack, her regular attacks will often deal more damage. Though I find that the Iron Lance's hit and run and long arch skills match her toolkit better on at first compared to the Steel Lance's Armor Crush and Tempest Lance. You generally won't be attacking very bulky units like Armor Knights with Claire to begin with, as she'll mostly be on the outskirts of your army hunting down weaker targets such as witches, wizards, or even centaurs. Thanks to her great avoidance, she can even pick off a lonely archer every now and then without putting herself at too much risk. Later on, giving Claire a blessed lance to combat terrors will make her an absolute monster killer. In Echoes, Falcon Knights only get plus 10 damage against terrors rather than dealing effective damage to them, but this combined with the blessed lance effectiveness means that she will most likely one-round all but the most hardened terrors on the battlefield. Being a flyer, Claire is obviously weak to arrows, but keep in mind that an archer actually has to be equipped with an iron bow or higher to deal effective damage. Archers equipped with the regular bows do not deal bonus damage to flyers, so make sure you check enemy inventories and see what they actually have. Even against archers wielding regular iron bows or higher, Claire will seldom be one-shot, though she will rarely survive the second one. She can certainly take on a single archer in close combat, but don't overestimate her survivability. If you want to reclass Clair via the Villager's Fork, she does have a rather impressive list of spells she can access, though I find that her base class is where she shines the most. Overall, Clair is a fantastic Pegasus Knight, and I'm not just saying that because she's pretty, but because her growth rates are really spectacular and some of the highest in the game. She might need a little bit of help to get going initially, but once you start feeding her a couple of kills, she really starts going. Treat this lovely little flower with care and patience, and it might just bloom into something wonderful. That sounded a lot less creepy in my head.
You should be honored.
Thank you for watching this Fire Emblem character spotlight. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like and a comment, it really helps out the channel a lot. I would also like to thank my other Patreon supporters as well. Anyone of bronze tier or higher will automatically be listed at the end of my spotlights and certain other videos. I am very grateful for your continued support, thank you so much. The beautiful art and design you see created in this video was made by my designer Mina Tangerina, and my script editors Nasiro and Sanagi helped me fine-tune the script for this spotlight. As always, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Mangs, and I'll see you again soon. Goodbye!